to Soccer Talk with the Soul. I'm Adam Deal, and now we're going to talk the world of soccer, everything that's going on in the world, the most important things. And to get into that, we're bringing on Dan Lodge, and we're also bringing on Ron Patel, president of the Soul. Lodge, you and me go way back, man. I don't like the team you support. I'm just going to straight off say that. All right, you're a supporter of Arsenal, and that's a little bit ridiculous and embarrassing, but we value your opinion. That's number one. I'm going to take my shots when I can right here. There he is. Listen, but also, you started something really cool. I'm a part of it on Facebook, and I think everybody needs to be a part of it. On Facebook, you started fans. Talk about it. Fans of Albuquerque.
Soccer fans of Albuquerque. So it basically all started at work. You know, we have a couple of really big soccer fans at work, and we'd be on our communicator, and we'd be talking before and after games. You know, Fridays and Mondays were always hot days.
Instead of doing work.
Of course. You know, why would I do work when I can talk about soccer, right? Yeah, I hope she's not watching it today. So, yeah, and, you know, basically I said it would be easier if we could kind of create a Facebook page where we can all get in there and talk together. Friends invited friends, and I think we're about 3 years in now, and we've got a little over 460 members. And obviously every Friday through Monday, full of banter, right? Everyone kind of picks on each other's teams.
It's pretty good banter.
It is, you know. Not a lot of people make fun of Liverpool because what's the point these days, you know? But you know.
Hey, let's cool it, all right? You were talking a little bit of trash about Steven Gerrard the other day because it's what, the 2-year anniversary of him slipping.
It is.
Let's just keep it easy.
The slipping
all right?
anniversary.
Absolutely. Liverpool's hurting themselves enough here. Europa, here they come. We're on a pretty cool page, so you get to chat about everything with everybody here locally.
I found it very early on. We didn't know each other back then. I found it. We met by going to watch Premier League games together.
Yep.
What people don't realize is how popular soccer is in Albuquerque, and everyone's got friends who have kids, or you've got kids that play soccer. But there is actually, NBC did a study because they showed the Premier League games on the weekends. They did a study of the top 10 markets for that watch English Premier League soccer on NBC. Now, this is not per capita. This is total number of viewers on NBC. Albuquerque was number 9 in the country. Dallas was number 10. There's more people that watch NBC Premier League soccer in Albuquerque than do in Dallas, and those numbers are astounding.
Well, that's the point of us starting this show. Not only is the Soul such a great thing for New Mexico, but truly we have avid soccer fans here that want more of it. I feel like it's grown so much here in New Mexico. Obviously, it's grown in the United States. It continues to grow. It's becoming a very popular sport. No longer is soccer like the stepping stone to any other sports. It's a choice now, and here in Albuquerque especially, and that's why this is fun.
Yeah, and I love, you know, tuning in the mornings on Saturdays as I don't if I have the game recorded if Liverpool's playing at 6 a.m.
It's dangerous.
And I just turn my phone off and don't have the notifications because I got Larry in my ear, of course, talking smack about Man United, and then these guys talking about Arsenal. But, I mean, the page has just created friendships and furthered the sport, I think.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people in Albuquerque that I probably would have never met simply through the page. You know, it's all fun and games. Yep. But banter gets pretty serious.
Well, we've also brought Ron on because, I mean, you guys are going to go at it a little bit here and have some talking points. And to do that, we've got some great highlights. I mean, obviously, the FA Cup is coming down to the finals, and so let's step into it. The first highlight that we have for you, courtesy of Fox Sports, is Manchester United as they were taking on Everton. And yeah, early on, how about Fellaini? That's a quick one, guys.
Former Evertonian.
How about the own goal then, Chris Smalling, and all of a sudden Everton has it set up one apiece, and this is a fantastic winner here, isn't it, Lodge? Stepping inside.
Martial was really, you know, he cost a lot of money. Everyone had a lot of questions about him, but he's really stepped up through the season and has scored big goals just like this. You know, obviously that puts Man United through the final, which...
Everybody rejoices there in Manchester United faithful, yay. So they go on to win. But truly, I'll take a shot here too. It's the only thing that they can win this season. They're hoping maybe to climb into that 4th spot in the English Premier League, Dan, but I don't know if that'll happen. I'll actually probably be rooting for your young Gunners there. But it was an important win for Manchester United, guys, just because they really have nothing left this season.
It was, and it may well have saved Van Gaal's job. Who knows? What do you think?
You can hope so. You know, I mean, Man United's had a lot of very successful managers, obviously Ferguson being the main person. They've kind of struggled a little bit here and there since Ferguson left. I don't think Van Gaal has spent his money as wisely. I don't think Man United fans are really happy with him, which in turn makes me happy because they don't have as much success, right? You know,
This
as
is
an
just going
Arsenal,
to become a Man U bashing.
It is,
show.
isn't
I'm
it?
okay with
Yeah.
that. I'm okay with that.
We're going to lose a lot of supporters for this show. Okay, well, let's move along. Obviously, the other semifinal in the FA Cup, that went on as well, and a little bit different, right? So Watford's taking on Crystal Palace. And
Two London
this was
clubs.
An interesting matchup.
Yes.
As,
Two clubs
early.
you wouldn't usually see in the stage, right? So that's the great thing about the FA Cup is you start seeing these
And we're
teams
going to
that
talk
are.
about that as comparison to the U.S. Open here, which the Soul was in, and that's Denny in the 55th minute, and then that proved to be the winner right there by Wickham. And so moving on is Crystal Palace, and if you would have told me Crystal Palace was moving on to the FA Cup final, guys, I would have said you're a liar. But that's the point of the tournament.
What's the song? Is it "Glad All Over"? They sing at Selhurst Park. They are glad all over. They struggled a little bit in the Premier League this year. Kind of slipped down the table from where they were last year. But I think it's great to see him going on to the FA Cup.
Yeah, Alan Pardew, when he took over, he really had a big impact in Crystal Palace, and they started off the season great. Over the last 15 games or so, they've really struggled. So I'm sure a lot of their fans are very happy to see him in the Cup final now.
Okay, so let's get to it. A little friendly debate here. Crystal Palace is going to take on Man U. Dan, I'll start with you. Who are you taking and why?
I would love to say Crystal Palace. I think they have struggled too much during the season. Quite frankly, Man United fans are the worst. But I got to go with Man United. I mean, you got players like Martial who are really getting acquainted to the Premier League, really showing his capabilities. I think that Man United is probably being more consistent through the season, regardless of how nice they've played. You know, their game isn't as fluid as it's been historically. I think their experience is really going to take them through, and I think it's going to be, unfortunately, a narrow win for Man United.
Ron, do you agree, disagree?
As the great Lee Corso of American football would say, not so fast, my friend. Palace has got this in the bag, and it's not just because of my hatred for Manchester United. I think they've slipped down the table this year. This is their chance to make this year worthwhile. And one of the assistant coaches for the Soul, Simon Rothman, big Crystal Palace fan, he's going to be glad all over when they win 2-1 in the FA Cup final.
Okay, well, let's move on. So we're going to hold you to that. Ron says Crystal Palace. Dan says Man U. I mean, I'm not going to be stupid here, guys. I'm going to say Man U, and they'll get the FA Cup and have a fight for the Community Shield, which, like I said, is really all they have. I mean, maybe they can sneak in that fourth spot, but Dan, you'd probably be pretty upset if that happens. We'll talk about that actually here in the second. The table and where it stands in the English Premier League, and going to the English Premier League, Leicester City. Like, this is really going to happen? It's no longer a pipe dream. This is going to happen. And their latest Premier League game, it was a smashing, courtesy of NBCSN, excuse me. Quickly, 1-0 in the 10th minute.
The PFA Footballer of the Year.
Mahrez, he's been fantastic this season. And the interesting thing, Ajoa, who just scored right there, he replaced Jamie Vardy as he got his suspension. So there was questions whether they were going to be able to score the same.
A little fortunate there for Ajoa.
Ajoa really, stepped up to the plate. I mean, he's a clinical finisher, so he did well to.
Albrighton topping it off.
But fantastic
We'll
season
finish
as
it
well.
off, guys. So that's 4-0, the win there. Listen, it's going to happen. In fact, 76 points for Leicester City right now. 76 points as compared to Tottenham, 69 points. I believe if Leicester City wins and Tottenham loses this next go-around, it's all but done there for Leicester City, Dan.
Absolutely. I mean, Leicester's been one of those stories that through the season, everyone's been waiting for them to drop and to not really perform the way they performed. And that's really a story to a team, right? I mean, you've got a lot of these individual superstars in all these teams. Leicester, I mean, Mahrez cost $400,000. He was in no way, shape, or form a superstar until he's done, and Jamie Vardy and Kante and all these other players have performed for Leicester like they have this season. I mean,
I like what you said too. Vardy doesn't even play in the last game, and they absolutely hammered.
Yeah, and that was a big
through.
question coming into that game, whether they were going to perform the same with his speed. And
sneaking away with
everything
1-0
up front.
victories. I shouldn't say sneaking because they've earned them, but it's been 1-0 victories and then without him.
It's great to hear, right?
I mean, it's kind of the point too, Dan. Is listen, everyone's been waiting for them to slip. I mean, everybody's there. They've started out hot off the gate, and you're like, okay, well, this is going to fade as the season grows old.
And Ranieri is just an absolutely fantastic manager, right? I mean, that guy's really coached them through everything. I think he's really taken a lot of the pressure off the players, and they've just been playing their game, and they've been absolutely fantastic at it. So
I'm just not sure you're ever going to see something like this again in a Premier League season. It's such a great story. Hollywood's already putting together the Jamie Vardy story. They've been in Leicester doing filming. And it's just, I don't think you're going to see something like this.
No, you're not. I mean, if you gambled, if you were a betting man and you bet for this to happen, I mean, if you said Leicester City was going to win the league,
they were talking.
The odds are, I think,
5,000 to 1 odds. There's a lot of people who's made some very good money making.
It's wild. Listen, we mentioned Tottenham is third at 69 points. Well, second. City and Arsenal really tied for third. They're at 64 points, I think, because
I think City's ahead of Arsenal.
City has more wins, so they're technically in third. But Arsenal hangs on to that fourth spot. Very important, obviously, for avid soccer fans, understanding that the Champions League, you got to be at least top 4, right? So Manchester United in 5th with 59 points. I believe they have a game in hand, though, right?
Yeah. So that's definitely going to be interesting. I think that it's always a very competitive end of season in the Premier League, fighting for those Champions League spots.
Which could be historical, actually, this year. Pretend Ron Patel and I are very happy, and Liverpool wins Europa League and gets that automatic berth to the Champions League. Then this could open the door. Say Man City then wins the Champions League this year and gets the automatic berth. You could really see more English teams than ever.
And 5 teams. I mean, that would be incredible. And what would be even better is Man United would come in 4th and still not, make Champions League. So.
Well, and 5 is also a significant number because that's how many Champions League titles the Liverpool has, correct?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring that up.
It's been probably more than 5 years since you've been in it too. So that's
Well, quickly, while we have a chance to talk about the Champions League into the Final Four, what do you guys think? I'll start with you, Dan.
I think that the City Real Madrid game being 0-0 kind of gives the advantage to City. They've just got to score. 1-1 would be good enough for away goals. It's really hard to beat Real Madrid in Madrid. I'd probably still lean towards Madrid if Ronaldo's fit and Benzema ends up being healthy. In the other game, it's really hard to rule out Atletico, but Bayern Munich is so good. I'd probably have to say a Real Madrid-Bayern final with Bayern taking the Champions League.
And technically, Bayern Munich, I think, is just too much. And of course, my guy, Thomas Müller, who's been fantastic this season, have a wonderful Champions League. I think a lot of people looked at Thomas Müller early in his career and said, okay, well, he had a lot of goals with a great Germany team, but now he's starting to prove himself on a fantastic club team here in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's always been a great goal poacher, right? Right place at the right time.
He's like a Van Nistelrooy.
It takes a lot to be that guy, right? It takes your mind to get you there. I think he's really shown in the last few seasons that he can create goals from nothing, and he's a world-class striker. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There was no wonder that there were, the Man Uniteds of the world trying to buy him in the summer, right? And then it would be hard to move from a Bayern to a Man United with the stature they have in Germany and the dominance they have in Champions League. So.
Ron, I'll go with you here. You and I talked about this last show, what we thought, and I'm still going to go with this. I think City's going to get an away goal and maybe a 1-1 draw or something and go through, and I think Bayern's going to go through, and I think it's going to be City and Bayern. And
and of course, as we're filming this, we haven't seen the first leg of the Bayern
that's
game.
Important.
But I still, as my heart wants to go with the English team, but I do think Real will get the win against Bayern, and I think Real beats Bayern in the final.
I'll say this too: the atmosphere for Man City was fantastic. I mean, they had never experienced a first leg in the semifinals before, so it was actually unique to see it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Fans actually showed up and filled the stadium, which is
what's very cool about the Man City Man United rivalry, right? I mean, obviously Man United is the more famous team around the world, but within Manchester there is a lot of Manchester City fans. So getting your local fans there and everything, and they've obviously been have an influx of money, and they've bought wisely, relatively, over the last few years. And we've got a great team, and it's worth going to see. I mean, for them, it's history, right? They haven't been there in, probably ever. And it's, as a Manchester City fan, it's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Okay, lastly, Dan, I want to ask you again, so you could let everyone know, how can they go follow you on Facebook, the page that you made it? How can everybody be a part of this?
So soccer fans of Albuquerque, just request to be added. We're happy to add everyone who's, geographically located close to New Mexico or has ties to New Mexico. And we'll see you probably this weekend when the banter begins.
There wasn't enough blood spilled between these two. Next time you're on, I want to see more, all right? I want to see you guys go at it. Liverpool versus Arsenal, come on. Dan, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
You'll stick around. We got a lot more, so keep it right here. Soccer Talk with the Soul.